the difficult thing that people don't realize is God will give you the answers. If you really have a question you're struggling with and you pray about it sincerely, you'll get the answer. The question is, what are you going to do with that? Because now you are held guilty if you reject it. The more we participate in sin, the more we dissipate those energies in us. That's why sin is death, because without God's energies, how could you live? God sustains all life. He is the source of life. That's actually another uncreated energy. So if God's energy are totally abased and absent within you, you are filled with death.
O Lord of hosts, be with us, for we have none other help in times of adversity but Thee. O Lord of hosts, have mercy on us.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you believe in hell and heaven, right?
Of course.
Okay, so if someone's not religious and they live their life entirely without God or anything, where do they end up when they die?
So as Orthodox, we do not make claims about people's salvation. What we would say is that God judges. There's an objective morality. Right? This is the teachings of Christ. We'd say that's just written in stone fact. That's what everybody's judged on because Christ had a perfect human heart. All of our hearts, which is really who we are, that's what's going to be held up to the light of Christ. So let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'm going to answer your question, I promise. So we would say everybody is judged within their context. So for example, say there's an old lady who's a Protestant who has lived a very, again, from all standards, a very pious and righteous life. But she's not Eastern Orthodox, what I believe to be the one true church founded by the apostles that still is unchanged. Do I think she's going to go to hell? No. God's going to judge her in her context, and I don't know the fate of her soul. That's outside my pay grade. What we say is we are the fullness. If you want the fullness of Christianity and the historical faith, that's us. Everything out there. So again, like the Taoist monk on Wudong Mountain in China who's doing Tai Chi every morning, is he going to hell? Well, how can I make claims about salvation when he hasn't heard about Christ? And that's where when you ask, you shall receive. When you want to know the truth and the truth shall set you free, the difficult thing that people don't realize is God will give you the answers. If you really have a question you're struggling with and you pray about it sincerely, you'll get the answer. The question is, what are you going to do with that? Because now you are held guilty if you reject it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm very religion is a big thing for me because I respect all religions. I do have a cross on my. I'm not religious, but I do respect every religion, and I don't want to choose one as my own until I fully study and understand. Because I think a lot of people go into religions as their parents are religious and they're born into it, and I feel like you as yourself should believe in it yourself.
Right.
But I also feel like the world is so crazy, like in the science world, right? Like how we're literally on a floating rock and all this stuff's happening. Like God to me can be real because everything else is unbelievable to me. Like how is all this stuff real that we can see?
Actually, you know what's interesting to me? One of the very compelling arguments is the fine-tuning argument. I actually think it's a strong argument for the potential existence of a God. So this idea that sorry, you
want me to explain it?
Give me a chance, but I'm gonna have you come in with the dunk, not the dunk on you guys, but with the assist.
All right. I'll be
it's
your
the idea
Nash.
that the basis. God damn, they're laughing at me and shit. What the fuck?
What was that?
It's been a year since I've heard the fine-tuning argument. Fuck it. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So
this is why I have it there.
Yeah, the fine-tuning argument essentially when you look at the cosmological situation that allows life to persist on the planet, it is so fine-tuned that if you changed any one thing, life couldn't exist. But we're told that the Big Bang, again, it was 13.8 billion. I think a year or two ago, they then upped it because there was statistical mathematical problems with the idea of just Darwinian macroevolution, which is total random selection. Actually, if you just did the statistics, that would not be enough time for all random possibilities to actually present us to the present moment. And so we saw that based on their cosmology, that the universe has now been upgraded. I think it was like 28 billion years is what they're arguing now. But the point is, the fine-tuning of life to exist on this planet is so precise that how could that possibly be totally random based on what we're told by secular cosmology?
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I had
that
question.
in the back. It was
really back there.
I have a question. So going back to what you said, where so you're Orthodox, and if she said, if you're not religious, where would you go, right? Heaven or hell? And so, you know, this is like my best friend right here, Lindsay, and then, you know, we both do the same work. And she's one of like the best people that I know. And like, I'm a good person. So where do you think we're going?
Well, based on what standard is a good person? So
Like,
again, my standard is Jesus Christ.
Right.
So that's the standard.
Just in the day to day, like we are good people,
well,
but like
you can
what
be,
we do for a job.
You can be a really nice person. I won't even debate you on that. Maybe you are one of the nicest people, and maybe you're a really good friend. But again, day to day, how are you lining up with trying to strive to be like Jesus Christ? And that then calls into question like objective morality, objective ethics, these types of things. And I would never make a claim about you particular, but we can certainly make claims about behaviors, right? So Christianity, this is where I get like this feminized Christianity where you can't criticize behavior is ridiculous. Like, that is not what Christ did in the gospel. They cherry pick a quote here that says, oh, well, you know, he said just love everybody. Well, that's not what the gospel says. The gospel is very clear on what things we should and shouldn't do. And so when somebody transgresses those behaviors, you can call them out. Doesn't mean you then claim what their salvation is or the state of their soul or the interiority of who they are as a person. We can't know those things. Only God does. But with what you've been given and the knowledge that you have, you will be judged. And St. Paul says the law has already been written on your heart. So deep down, this is where, you know, even if somebody never heard of Jesus, and maybe they live in a tribe down in the Amazon, but they participate in cannibalism and human like those things are just naturally violent. You have to be desensitized to those things for them to become normal. And so that's because God's already written morality on our heart. We know it, and that's why we try to preserve innocence in children and women, because they're closer to that structure and they can feel when it's transgressed. But when you violate the purity and you get rid of the purity, you're so desensitized to things that you can't feel like when actually transgressions occur.
Yeah, and that's what's happening now is we have so many women who have been affected negatively physically from men and children as well. You expect them to be able to grow up and still abide by the same morals that did not protect them. So, like, where are those examples set?
I'm not in favor of defending any man that violates a woman or a child in a sexual manner. I think we should have, especially children. I'm not against capital punishment. I mean, those people need to be, like, that is a sickness. That is, and Christ says, like, those people deserve a millstone.
Do you think
like,
what
you did
we
not
do is a sickness?
I think that it's a sickness in regards to society. I'm not going to make a claim about you two as individual people. I don't know your lives. I don't know your context. Again, I don't know the interiority of your life. God does, though. And you guys know that God does. And so if you feel convicted about things, that's the Holy Spirit. And I do believe that the more you sin, the more the Holy Spirit leaves you. I mean, as an Orthodox Christian, we believe in these uncreated energies. So things like love, truth, logic, mercy, compassion, honor. We believe these are actual energies from God. And that's how we engage with Him directly. Like directly, there's no mediator. It's if I am loving and compassionate and I'm led by logic and reason and I'm pursuing truth, like I am moving towards Christ. And so the more we participate in sin, the more we dissipate those energies in us. And that's why sin is death, because without God's energies, how could you live? God sustains all life. He is the source of life. That's actually another uncreated energy. So if God's energy are totally abased and absent within you, you are filled with death. And that's what sin is.
It's interesting.
Well,
I do have to move it on.
Yeah.
We have
Sorry
some.
about the theology.
You're totally fine. We have some chats coming in. We got Desert Joe as a representative of the Phoenix metro area, along with Based Thor. We do not claim Chair 3 as one of ours. She gives the women from the Valley of the Sun a bad rap. Disavowed. You're in Arizona? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Do you want to respond to that, or?
I think he's just mad about where I live and he doesn't, you know?
Oh, shit, Desert Joe.
Sorry.
Desert Joe.
You should see the view. It's great.
Damn. All right, we have Master Monkey 34. Narla is proof Christianity is unserious. Philosophically, it is focused on orthodoxy, correct thought, and not orthopraxy, correct action. If you forgive everything, you stand for nothing. You want to do a quick response on that one? Or?
I mean, I would assume that what the super chatter is trying to say is kind of this weak, feminized Christianity that I was speaking about, and I would agree with him. If it's all about sort of satisfying people's emotional states and like things they're doing and sort of reassuring everybody, yeah, that's totally a fake Christianity. But again, as an Orthodox Christian, Eastern Orthodox, I mean, the whole thing is orthopraxy, because if you don't live the lifestyle, you're not filled with the energies of God, and that equals death. And so if you die and you're filled with sin and you're filled with all these things that actually take the energy away, well, of course you're going to die. And that's what hell is. Hell is eternal separation from God, but we're choosing it right now. God, it's not like there's a bouncer at the pearly gates that looks to see, is your name on the list? I don't see your name on here. No, we're doing it right now. We're choosing where we're going.